We were not talking about Caitlin Clark before that moment.
It makes no sense to me.
Let's face reality.
Well, we have to remember one thing. She's not Caitlin Clark.
If Angel Reese had never waved her hand in her face when LSU was beating Iowa, if that hadn't happened, Angel Reese's name might not be as big. Yes, she would have made the WNBA. But in terms of her popularity, it really soared after she took down Caitlin Clark. And then Caitlin Clark came back and got revenge by knocking LSU out.
Angel Reese is riding Caitlin Clark's coattails.
She's going to be attached to Caitlin Clark to some degree.
Stephen A. Smith just unleashed a bombshell that's sending shockwaves through the sports world. Joy Taylor dared to compare Angel Reese to Caitlin Clark, alleging Clark's fame exists only because of Reese.
We were not talking about Caitlin Clark before Angel Reese walked up to her, did this, and pointed to the ring. This is not my opinion. I lived it. I watched it. It was recorded. It was broadcasted live. She just...
However, Stephen A. didn't hold back, disproving her claims and revealing the real reason for both players' fame.
Even though she's not Caitlin Clark, she's going to be reminded she's not Caitlin Clark with every good thing that Caitlin Clark does.
If you believe that Caitlin Clark's accomplishments can be overshadowed, reconsider and wait to hear the startling disclosures on Joy Taylor's credibility, or lack thereof.
She claims that when she would go out to meet Taylor for dinner or drinks, Charlie Dixon was always around. And that is when she said that Taylor shushed her, explained what Dixon's position was in the company, and Faraji believed that they were sleeping together.
And none of this stuff surprises me because I have been in this industry for over 10 years, and unfortunately I've seen a lot of things like this.
This video will make you wonder about every aspect of the story Taylor attempted to peddle. Let's dive in. Joy. Taylor's bold assertion that Caitlin Clark owed her fame to Angel Reese has sparked a flurry of criticism, and with good reason.
Caitlin Clark, the reason I bring up Caitlin Clark is because they're attached at the hip with one another, which means they're ultimately going to be compared.
During a previous discussion, Taylor suggested that no one would have known Caitlin Clark's name if it weren't for Angel Reese's infamous ring gesture during the NCAA championship. This statement not only undermines Clark's extraordinary achievements, but also exposes a blatant bias that Stephen A. Smith didn't hesitate to dismantle. And
when you look at Caitlin Clark is balling. She's a Rookie of the Year. She was one of the finalists for the league MVP honors as a rookie, breaking all types of records. She should have been on Team USA. Her brand building has been incredibly impressive.
Let's correct the record. Long before Reese's antics, Caitlin Clark's name was already making waves in the sports world. In women's basketball, Clark was more than just a rising star. She was a sensation.
Caitlin Clark has handled her branding extremely well. Whereas with Angel Reese, sometimes you find yourself scratching your head and wondering what the hell she's doing. Like that photo right there. But when you do that, you can't come down the line and complain about being objectified later on. It's not going to work.
From her jaw-dropping exploits in college to her ability to shoot logo 3ES, with ease, Clark was drawing audiences nationwide. In fact, during the NCAA tournament, Clark's record-breaking 41-point game against South Carolina, a previously unbeaten team, was the talk of the sports community.
And when you do stuff like that and you're drawing attention to yourself because of that, that can be problematic for you, especially when the comparison is going to be drawn to Caitlin Clark, who isn't doing such things.
That performance alone garnered millions of viewers, solidifying her place as a generational talent. By the time the championship game rolled around, women's basketball already had Caitlin Clark as its face.
And you certainly have the right to dress how you want and to do what you want and to live your life. But people have a right to have their opinions about what you put on display.
Without wasting any time, Stephen A. Smith criticized Taylor's irrational comments, emphasizing the stark contrast between the two players' respective routes to stardom. Caitlin Clark's unquestionable talent and unrivaled skill set are the main reasons for her appeal.
I also want to encourage her to bring her Instagram platform back because that is her brand and she built that for the last X number of years and now she can use it as a platform to market herself. But you have to be cognizant that no matter how you step out of your house, you are now Angel Reese. If you're not ready for the heat, then, you just got to be mindful that what comes with it.
What I'm saying is by pulling it down, clearly you felt there was something wrong.
Her accomplishments, which include winning debut of the year, demonstrate that she is a true athlete whose talent speaks louder than any narrative in the media. She has broken innumerable records and was even a finalist for the league MVP award during her debut WNBA season.
She is not dumb. She's quite a brilliant young lady. She is in this age where she does know social media exists, and she has exploited it to her advantage. That means you're mindful of the imagery and the perception that you're assisting in creating about yourself.
However, it was Angel Reese's ring gesture at Clark during LSU's victory over Iowa that captured her attention the most.
She was seen during various interviews and what have you, talking about threats, talking about insults, crying about how people were coming at her with such venom and hostility, particularly in her last year at LSU. She brought up all of these things, which means she was aware of it. And if you're aware of it, you have to understand that that's going to be part of the judgment that comes against you, fair or unfair.
After the season, and when I was in my press conference and I was talking about being sexualized, like, I guess people thought that was like, because I post pictures in my bathing suits. No, like, multiple occasions, people have made AI pictures of me, like, naked.
She claimed to be sexualized. What is that? Drama. Total drama.
Have you ever noticed we never hear about the sexualization of Caitlin Clark? Why don't we see Caitlin Clark being sexualized? Because Caitlin Clark doesn't allow it.
Although Reese is unquestionably a talented player, her fame soared owing to that viral event rather than her dominance on the court. Smith even brought attention to the awkward fact, whereas Clark is respected for her abilities. Reese frequently attracts notice for her demeanor and public demeanor, such as her controversial social media remarks that are unrelated to basketball.
It's not all about sharing everything. It's about actually keeping a lot of this stuff intimate and private. Personally, I wouldn't wear that because that's not the way I want to be represented.
She's literally held up an outline after getting waxed. Oh yes, please tell me, how sexualized you.
The suggestion of racial bias in Taylor's comments, which aim to minimize Clark's accomplishments and link her fame to Reese, is what makes them even more concerning. Instead of emphasizing merit, Taylor seems to be promoting an identity-based narrative.
Not even talking about the outfit. I'm talking about overall pressure of having to be compared as a brand to somebody who's conducting their branding with near perfection.
As Stephen A. Smith correctly pointed out, that these kinds of comparisons simply serve to exacerbate needless conflict and take away from the amazing skill both players bring to the game.
Don't want Nike turning her down because they don't see her as someone that's marketable, because
neither do I.
You know, and that's
neither do I.
However, Caitlin Clark's career speaks for itself when it comes to raw talent, and no amount of hateful remarks can negate the fact that her fame is earned rather than borrowed.
Whether directly or indirectly, there's always eyes on you. What they're paying attention to because they're trying to measure what your intentions are based off of what they.
Given Joy Taylor's background and the issues surrounding her career, her attempt to disparage Caitlin Clark's accomplishments is even more dubious.
The way that she dresses invites unwanted sexual attention.
Taylor appears to be a reliable source in the sports industry, but her most recent revelations paint a completely different picture.
She told Joy Taylor about Charlie getting a little frisky. Joy Taylor responded by saying, "Get over it." Mrs. Faraji also insinuated that Joy Taylor used her feminine powers to advance her career in the company.
Faraji claims that she had attended a birthday party for Taylor. When she goes to this birthday party, she says that Dixon was there. Mr. Dixon approached her and then placed his arm on Miss Faraji's lower back. But as she knew Miss Taylor was sleeping with Mr. Dixon, she turned to her. Miss Taylor responded to get over it and explained that she herself only had her job because of Mr. Dixon.
One that reveals her ascent to stardom was founded on scandals and exploitative tactics rather than skill or talent. According to the allegations made in a recent lawsuit brought by a former employee of Fox Sports, Taylor used her connections and looks to land a job in the industry. The lawsuit alleges that Taylor had inappropriate relationships with influential Fox Sports executives, such as Vice President of Content Charlie Dixon.
Faraji claims that Taylor continued to use her sexuality to advance at the Fox company. And she did that by allegedly sleeping with Emmanuel Acho, a former football player turned commentator.
Allegedly, Taylor leveraged these connections to land high-profile roles, including her spot as the moderator for Skip and Shannon Undisputed. These charges suggest that her job achievements were less about her skill set and more about her willingness to exploit her personal relationships. The lawsuit also reveals that Taylor's approach was not limited to one guy. She reportedly used similar techniques with former NFL player turned pundit Emmanuel Acho, seeking to gain opportunities on his show. Speak for yourself.
Miss Taylor asked Miss Faraji to meet her for lunch in Beverly Hills. She found Miss Taylor with a man, Emmanuel Acho. Miss Faraji didn't know Mr. Acho, but could tell that the two were romantically involved. Miss Taylor confirmed and explained that she wanted Mr. Acho to eventually recommend her on the show Speak for Yourself. Miss Faraji became alarmed and warned Miss Taylor that she should probably not sleep with Mr. Dixon and Mr. Acho at the same time. Miss Taylor told her not to worry.
These accusations, if true, severely damage her credibility as a journalist and a commentator. It's worth noting that these aren't isolated claims. The lawsuit details a pattern of behavior where Taylor reportedly prioritized personal gain over professional integrity, even at the expense of others in the industry. Stephen A. Smith's takedown of Taylor resonates even more deeply when you consider these allegations. How can someone who allegedly used inappropriate means to climb the ladder in sports? Broadcasting speak authoritatively about the merits and achievements of athletes like Caitlin Clark. Taylor's credibility crumbles when you contrast her history with the relentless work ethic and undeniable talent of someone like Clark.
Nushin Faraji, who says she worked at Fox Sports from 2012 through last August, made a series of allegations in the 42-page lawsuit obtained by Front Office Sports. Fox, Fox Sports, FS1, FS2, Fox Sports EVP Charlie Dixon, Skip Bayless, and FS1 host Joy Taylor are listed as defendants in the lawsuit.
The case also focuses on Taylor's attitude to accountability and criticism. When asked about her behavior, she allegedly downplayed worries, saying that she had grown too powerful to be impacted by consequences. If anything, Taylor's remarks regarding Caitlin Clark show a desperate attempt to stay relevant in a field that values authenticity and expertise qualities. This arrogance, combined with the accusations of misconduct, casts doubt on her ability to discuss sports issues fairly and objectively. Taylor doesn't appear to have
The lawsuit says Miss Faraji brings forth this action because for over a decade at Fox, she was forced to endure a misogynistic, racist, ableist workplace where executives and talent were allowed to physically and verbally abuse workers with impunity. When Miss Faraji and others came forward to report the wrongdoing, instead of addressing their concerns, Fox retaliated against them while the perpetrators and those who protected them were inexplicably promoted. This case thus represents yet another in a long line of cases chronicling the toxic culture at Fox, marked by bad faith promises and repeated failures to address a poisonous and entrenched patriarchy.
What's more, the lawsuit alleges that Taylor herself admitted to using her relationships to maintain her position at Fox Sports, reportedly stating that she would accuse certain individuals of harassment if they ever tried to oust her. This kind of manipulation not only raises ethical questions, but also explains why her commentary on Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese lacks substance and credibility, rather than focusing on facts or the merits of the athletes she discusses. Taylor appears to be fueling narratives that align with her personal biases and agenda.
Former Fox Sports hairstylist alleges in a lawsuit that a network executive used his position to sexually harass women, as well as that Skip Bayless touched her inappropriately and propositioned her for sex.
Joy Taylor allegedly mispronounced the English pronunciation of Mrs. Faraji's name.
Joy Taylor's track record casts a long shadow over her controversial remarks about Caitlin Clark. It becomes clear that her opinions are not only rooted in bias, but are also tainted by a history of questionable actions. Her attempt to diminish CLK's achievements isn't just baseless, it's hypocritical, coming from someone whose own career has been riddled with controversy and scandal. Caitlin Clark's rookie season in the WNBA was nothing short of revolutionary. Right out of the gate, she established herself as a force to be reckoned with, earning the title of Rookie of the Year and becoming a finalist for the league MVP.
Faraji claims that when she would go out to meet Taylor for dinner or drinks, Charlie Dixon was always around. And that is when she said that Taylor shushed her, explained what Dixon's position was in the company, and Faraji believed that they were sleeping together.
And none of this stuff surprises me because I have been in this industry for over 10 years, and unfortunately I've seen a lot of things like this.
Miss Taylor asked Miss Faraji to meet her for lunch in Beverly Hills. She found Miss Taylor with a man, Emmanuel Acho. Miss Faraji didn't know know Mr. Acho, but could tell that the two were romantically involved. Ms. Taylor confirmed and explained that she wanted Mr. Acho to eventually recommend her on the show Speak for Yourself. Ms. Faraji became alarmed and warned Ms. Taylor that she should probably not sleep with Mr. Dixon and Mr. Acho at the same time. Ms. Taylor told her not to worry about it.
Her incredible performances shattered records, including scoring a career-high 35 points in a single game and surpassing Simone Augustus for the most points ever scored by a rookie in WNBA history. These achievements not only solidified her as a generational talent, but also proved that her skill set transcends hype and narrative.
That idiot Angel Reese is trying so hard to latch on to Caitlin Clark by being the heel and then crying about it. You all did this. You all called her a white bitch constantly. You all did this.
Her dominance on the court is complemented by her distinctive style of play, recognized for her deep three-point shots, flawless court vision, and clutch performances. Every game, Clark captivated supporters and silenced detractors by leading her team with unyielding will and displaying a level of basketball IQ and skill that, even given that her performances drew comparisons to the sport's legends, it's no surprise that she was hailed as one of the league's biggest stars.
Caitlin Clark is different from any other player we have ever seen in the women's game, and it starts with the distance with which she shoots the basketball. We've never seen a player shoot from that deep range with that kind of efficiency.
In spite of her achievements, during her rookie season, Clark endured a great deal of hardship. She was frequently the target of criticism and animosity, dealing with everything from on-court aggressiveness to racial threats and unfounded charges.
Caitlin Clark has been the best thing, the most dominant thing to happen to the WNBA ever. Remember, there's been good players come out of college, but nobody really cared. We'd seen it. Nobody really cared.
The media occasionally heightened unjustified controversies surrounding her, and opponents frequently used physical play to try to break her composure. However, Clark's response was nothing short of inspirational. She remained focused and refused to let the noise take away from her game or her character. What makes Caitlin Clark unique is not only her extraordinary talent, but also her fortitude and grace under pressure.
Now, another award that Caitlin Clark just won this week is the 2024 Sports Business Journal Best Sports Business Athlete, and that went to Caitlin Clark.
Clark continuously demonstrated that she belonged at the top by her on-court performances, despite many trying to overshadow her accomplishments with needless turmoil. Her first season wasn't just about setting records. It was about breaking barriers, and by overcoming the obstacles in her path, she inspired innumerable followers and solidified her reputation as one of the most exceptional athletes of her generation. She became a symbol of excellence and tenacity.
Clark is only the fourth women's basketball player to be honored as the Female Athlete of the Year since it was first presented in 1931, joining Cheryl Swoops, Rebecca Lobo, and Candace Parker. The impact and just success that she has had this year is insane.
One thing becomes very clear once the dust settles. While others, like Joy Taylor, try to rewrite the story with bias and controversy, Caitlin Clark's legacy is based on her raw talent, perseverance, and hard work rather than on ephemeral drama or flimsy tales propagated by others. The accomplishments of Clark speak louder than words ever could.
And I think that's the dope thing about Caitlin too, because regardless of the scrutiny they put on her name, every time she's came out and spoken publicly, she said, hey, I'm good, but we need to push the league. And like you said, she did a lot of vocal stuff that helped a lot of black women in the process, man.
Angel Reese cares more about influencing than she does about basketball. Now, you can't necessarily say the same about Caitlin Clark. Caitlin Clark understands that people are tuning into her for how she's going to transform what is happening in the WNBA, and the WNBA needs to embrace her more because she's going to get them.
In addition to defending Clark, Stephen A. Smith's critique of Taylor served as a rallying cry for justice and the acknowledgement of genuine sporting
When Serena Williams
greatness.
played against a male tennis player who was ranked like 200 something, and obviously Serena Williams is the greatest women's tennis player, and she lost 6-1, 6-1 to a guy who would never even be up.
Caitlin Clark is a trailblazer who has had an indisputable impact on the WNBA. Those who attempt to downplay her accomplishments will always be proven incorrect
Caitlin
by
Clark
the
has
evidence.
taken so much crap from so many types of players this season, pretty much from every team she's faced. Players realize that if they attack Caitlin Clark, their names are too going to be in the headline.
Caitlin Clark is a trailblazer who has had an indisputable impact on the WNBA. Those who attempt to downplay her accomplishments will always be proven incorrect by the evidence.
Problem is you have all of these players, Angel Reese, for example. You have Alyssa Thomas fueling the ideas of racial abuse by fans, but there's no real evidence of it. Brittany Griner speaking out against it. It's, the fans are calling us this, they're shouting these things. Did anybody hear any of these racial slurs happening or these racist actions by fans? The evidence wasn't there, so how are you going to talk about it if there's no evidence, right?
There is no race. And guess what? Those aren't fans. The people that are doing that, if they're doing that, they're just idiots. And if you're going to be popular, if you're going to be in the public eye, you're going to have a lot of idiots.
We appreciate you joining us as we explored this fascinating subject. Please remember to hit the notification and like this video if you liked it. Belle, please leave a comment below with your opinions on Joy Taylor's comments and Stephen A. Smith's reaction so that you don't miss a second of the action. Let's continue the topic till the next time. Remain attentive, knowledgeable, and enthusiastic. I'll see you in the upcoming video.